I've got some bad news. Even though it is a food product sold in the United States, there is no lot numbering or batch identification on telephone product of Thailand Agar powder 0.88 ounce pack of 5. Spoiler alert. So there's no way to know if you get a bad batch like I did. My Amazon invoice states that it was sold by TA National Trading from Lakewood, Washington. Now, I'm not throwing them under the bus. They only distribute the sealed product. But in March, when I tried to follow the product link from, when you go on the Amazon website, you get a list of previous orders, and you can click on them. It landed on Give or Buy in Thailand. And then in April, the same link took me to First Supermarket from New York City. So I found out you're not guaranteed you are buying from the same supplier each time you follow the purchase history links on the Amazon website. There was nothing special about the FitLane Agar. It was just a different brand, and it also turned out to be the cheapest cost option, even cheaper than telephone. So if I plan to process the Agar correctly, then I thought I'd better go to the manufacturer's website. And following a link on the package, I've found this information that's been translated from their website. It's Agar powder made from premium grade red algae called Gracilaria, a red algae from the Pacific Ocean. Telephone also contains iodine, which I happen to know sanitizes things, and I was wondering if that's a red flag. If it was contained in a capped bottle, would it get too concentrated and maybe create killer agar? I don't know. Other quotes from the website: Agar powder should be soaked in water before boiling. Agar powder should be soaked in water or cold water for about 5 to 10 minutes to make the agar powder saturated. This will make the jelly powder dissolve better, and the jelly will become clearer. It must be stirred and boiled with water until bubbling, and check to make sure that the agar powder is well dissolved, no jelly beads stuck to the spoon. Otherwise, it may cause the jelly to set slowly, or dehydration can occur. And I wonder if I was running into that with my process, the toothpaste consistency and it dehydrating, lots of condensation on the glass walls of the petri dishes, even pools of water in some dishes, and yet the agar would be a thin, shrunken layer and cracks would show up. Continuing with the website, the jelly water should be boiled over medium heat. You should not boil jelly with high heat, because it will cause the jelly to cause air bubbles. The jelly will be cloudy and not as clear as desired. Well, there's not much we can do about heat in our hobby, only the length of time it's exposed. The website also says the normal proportion is 25 grams of agar powder per 3 liters of water. So for a 500 milliliter batch, that would work out to only 4.2 grams of powder, and we're using 10 grams or more than twice that. But the website continues, if you want a crunchy outside but soft on the tongue, softly durable, use 0.8 to 1.2% of the total liquid. If you want a hard, crisp, bouncy, use 1.5 to 2% of the total liquid. So it looks like our hobby goes for crisp and hard. 10 grams would be 2%. So the agar should really set hard. I had wanted to test just one variable, the brand of agar, and hold all the other factors constant, meaning everything else gets the same treatment. But quirks of processing played in. The quantity, how much agar, 8 versus 10 or 12 grams had to be included. And heating was a variable. Simmer in a pan, microwave just the water, or microwaved after it was first mixed. So I decided to compare handling of telephone agar against itself to see if I could create killer agar, and also see if I could make good telephone agar following the manufacturer's website instructions. So I was no longer just comparing telephone versus FitLane agar, I just couldn't do the same processing for each. The quantity of agar has to vary using the quantity that works for that brand. And our hobby calls for 10 grams in a recipe. Killer Telephone was using 12 grams because it was having trouble with not setting hard. Fit had trouble with 10 grams dumped into hot water. It balled up and would not break up and dissolve the first time I made it. It did make a nice solid block in a Ziploc bag when I tossed it out. So Fit would have to use 8 grams in a cold water mix. So I wound up with at least 5 variables. Telephone versus Fit Lane brand, quantity of agar being 8, 10, or 12, how it's mixed, dry or wet, in hot or cold water, and how that is heated in a pan or microwave. But I think I could test all of that with just 4 batches of agar, 3 of Telephone and 1 of Fit Lane. So this is what I came up with as a test plan. Number 1 is Telephone made in a pan per the manufacturer's instructions, and hopefully this will be good. Number 4 is the way I've been making Killer Agar. Number 3 is Fit Lane mixed in a bottle, and number 2 is Telephone using the same way I'm processing the Fit Lane Agar. So hopefully the ones on the left will be good. I know the upper right makes a bad batch. Number 2 may be good, may be bad. I don't know. But I'll make Telephone per the manufacturer's instructions using 10 grams in cool water, soaking for 5 to 10 minutes, and then heat it by simmering in a pan and adding the malt extract. Then it all gets poured into a media bottle and made ready for the pressure cooker. Batch number 4, which should be Killer Agar, is 12 grams of Telephone with light malt extract. I microwave up boiling water separately and then pour it into the powders in a media bottle, pour it over them, and then get it ready for the PC. Number 2 batch will be Telephone with 12 grams light malt. Add it to a cold media bottle while stirring, and then the whole mix will be microwaved and brought to a boil and ready for the pressure cooker. Fit Lane will be 8 grams light malt extract added to cold water in a media bottle while stirring, and then that bottle will be microwaved and brought to a boil and ready for the pressure cooker. So now that you've been introduced to the 4 different batches, what we have on the counter on the blue stir plate on the left is bottle number 2 with 12 grams of Telephone Agar and the light malt extract, and at the moment it's in a cold media bottle being stirred up. Bottle number 3 on the black stir plate that just got mixed is in the same state. It's in a cold media bottle being stirred. Telephone batch number 1 had previously been weighed out and set aside to soak in a pan of cool water, and now it's ready to be put on the simmer. You're up to speed in watching batch number 4, which is the way I used to make Killer Agar, being weighed out for the dry powders. I have 12 grams agar, 7.5 LME, and that'll be put into the media bottle, and then the water will be boiled first and then added over the powders. Multitasking by doing several things in sequence quickly. Give the batch number 1 Telephone Agar a bit of a stir, Get killer batch number 4's water into the microwave and start it boiling. Checking for the granules in the agar, and now start preheating the pressure cooker. Get bottles 2 and 3 mixing on their stir plates, and take batch number 1 per the manufacturer's instructions, pouring hot liquid into a cold media bottle. Go grab some tin foil for covering the cap, and then put it into the preheating pressure cooker. I put foil on my media bottles because I pull them out hot with a oven glove once they've been pressure cooked. And here's batch number 4's water is ready. Now while batches 1 and 4 are already warm in the preheating pressure cooker because of the boiled water, we'll take 2 and 3 and place them in the microwave and bring them to a boil. Gotta watch them like a hawk, because as soon as it starts to boil it's going to foam up, and you want to catch it, shut it off, and get them out. One last mix on the stir plates. And ready to start the pressure cooker cycle in the next video. If you hadn't caught the previous video, I explained why I'm doing all these agar runs. Part 3 will talk about using the pressure cooker and the setup steps in the flow bench, pouring the agar, and then inoculating the test samples. And the final part will be conclusions from the data that's been gathered.